Okay, so it seems like recently there's been a little bit of a situation going on with the VTuber Saruei. Now, obviously, we talked about her recently, actually, about the whole censorship stuff, which has been really great to see because, it seems like she's been, kind of fighting back against a lot of the censorship stuff that has been kind of plaguing the space at the moment. But it seems like recently she did actually make a post, which a lot of people have been pretty mad about. And there has been some mixed opinions about it, but I would say it mainly has a kind of negative backlash to it, and it's all over this one post here saying, do you feel like a hero yet? And obviously it's got the American flag upside down and tattered and whatever, and obviously this comes at a very interesting time, of course, with everything going on in Iran and all of that kind of stuff, right? And you guys have probably seen the news. I mean, if you haven't seen it, then I don't know what to say, but essentially, yeah, this was posted during a lot of the stuff that has been going on yesterday, right? And yeah, a lot of people have been commenting on this because, it seems like it's a pretty topical post. It seems like this has been, pretty purposefully shared around the same time. And obviously she puts underneath saying the game and the quote are from Spec Ops, the line, I strongly recommend it. It's a true masterpiece. Now, of course, yeah, it seems like she was quoting a game, but I do think the quote from the game and stuff isn't just a coincidence. I think that this is obviously, something that was planned and was timed, and this is to do with everything that is going on in the real world right now. And I don't think it is some innocent post that maybe some people tried to make it out to be that didn't include any kind of reference to everything that's going on right now. And obviously, she's saying it's absurd to assume that I support a dictatorship or the systematic oppression of women's rights. It was simply a quote from a game, nothing more. I support nothing but people living and expressing themselves in full freedom. I wish you all a nice weekend and hope you stay safe. Because, yeah, it seems like a lot of people have been going after her, essentially saying that she supports, all of this kind of dictatorship stuff. Obviously, everything that goes on over in Iran and all of that kind of stuff, and saying, she supports the systematic oppression of women's rights, which obviously is a problem that was going on over there. But again, I don't think she's probably saying that, but that's what a lot of people have been kind of responding with, right, whenever it comes to this post. Now again, maybe I don't think it is. I just can't see it as it being a coincidence. In terms of the post timing, I think this has definitely come out at the same time. Obviously, she's saying that it is just simply a quote from a game, nothing more. But I do think the timing is a little bit too perfect. And if it was genuinely an accident in terms of the timing and everything like that, I think it is pretty understandable that some people are going to draw conclusions that it is similar to it due to the timing that you put it out, right? And obviously people saying, not gonna lie, this game is basically the meme of a game forcing you to kill a dog in the to progress. Then telling you you're a terrible human for killing the dog. The most memorable moments are shock value scenes where the players have zero agency. It's a Spec Ops. The line is a linear story. You're not meant to steer the morality or feel heroic. You're inhabiting a character with a fixed arc. If you expect every game to protect your ego or give you moral control, you're treating the story like it deserves to serve you. And obviously people saying, yes, the French VTuber has a political take. Please, every lend an ear and take her extremely seriously. And obviously she says, I'm quoting a game with an anti-war message. That's the whole story. And if you think someone's job disqualifies them from having a political opinion, weak argument. By that logic too, anyone who consumes adult content would have to stay silent too. And I do kind of understand that, right? Again, in terms of the game quote, I think it is very obvious that she is making a statement in terms of what is going on at the moment. But I think, whenever people bring up the point that, oh, she's a VTuber, she's not allowed to have a political take, I think that's kind of wrong, right? And maybe that's a hot take or whatever. I feel like anybody who, has any kind of job is allowed their own opinion about certain things, no matter what they do for a job, no matter what kind of content they make, right? But again, some people, try to point that out as a point. Again, I don't get it, but, I also understand that, trying to say that this isn't some kind of, political message is also pretty crazy, right? People saying posting this right now is kind of crazy work, saying, if you're seeing this and don't recognize it, go play Spec Ops The Line, then you understand. So now I've got to look this game up. Currently watching your playthrough of it, a really good game. I definitely need to replay since I've done with Resi 9. And yeah, obviously a lot of people have been talking about the game, but obviously the replies have been muted. You can't reply to it anymore, probably due to the amount of backlash that was coming out. And obviously a lot of people have been making fun of that too in the quote retweets, because even though you can hide replies, you can't hide quote retweets. People saying, whoa, that's so deep, bro. What if we were the bad guys? Holy whoa. And obviously saying she's mad that they blew her BF up. Again, I'm not sure on the context of that one, but obviously people have been talking about that. So didn't you guys already surrender this morning? Obviously, referencing France. Obviously, they're very known for surrendering. So funny enough, the American troops were literally the heroes in the game. They said, yeah, I take my geopolitical position based on the VTuber internet whores. How did you know? Now, again, I think that, of course, whenever I said about the whole, it doesn't matter what content you make or what job you have or whatever, you're allowed to have your own opinion on things. I think that's true. But I do think at the same time, whenever you're listening to people in terms of their political positions and stuff, I think obviously, taking it from a YouTuber or something like that probably isn't the best way to get informed about current politics and different kind of news and things like that, right? I think that is definitely an argument to be made. But again, I think that she personally is allowed to have her own opinion, though. Right. Who's saying I get all my geopolitical takes from OnlyFans people? Yeah, of course. I say Ayatollah dead, 0 Americans deaths, Iranians freed. Yeah, I think they do feel like heroes. I don't believe this post was just a coincidence, and I don't believe it is either, right? I think this was definitely timed, and I think if again, she doesn't make it super clear here whether she was saying that this is just a coincidence. Obviously, she's saying it was simply a quote from a game, nothing more. I don't know if she's referring that to the fact of, hey, this is all I'm saying, like I'm not saying anything else. Or is she saying like this has nothing to do with what is going on right now? She doesn't make that clear. So again, that would be nice to kind of understand, I guess, because I think that if she's saying that it doesn't have any kind of attachments to what is going on right now, I think that's just a bit I don't believe that for 1 second, right? I feel like this post was definitely timed and for this time, right? I think this isn't just a random thing. People have been hating on Saruei as well. People saying yes. Saying I was commenting on how idiocracy and they live are used for shallow digs at American in the realm of film. Spec Ops: The Line is that for gamers, doesn't help its case that it's fundamentally bad, pretentious game. People saying it's time to get some fresh virtue signaling gains, getting a backlash instead. Oh shit, JPEG, who, me? It was just a quote from a silly game, how dare you, it's just a coincidence. That actually the third world theocratic dictatorship is the bad guy. This MF locked replies, which obviously, yeah, a lot of people making fun of that too. Then I never understand why anybody of any intellect would consider this a masterpiece. It's literally pretentious. Obviously, some people talk about the game itself and saying that they don't like the game, which I guess, you can dislike the game if you want to as well. And again, I think it is one of these things. But again, people have been kind of making different kind of statements about this, saying VTubers trying not to be political about things, they don't understand challenge, impossible. And again, I think it is all up to kind of your own political beliefs and whatever. But, whenever it comes to being a funny VTuber online, I think, a lot of people should, not so, I don't know, because we had a recent situation like this with the Powder and Lucy Pyre stuff, right? Lucy Pyre was telling VTubers not to be political, which obviously I don't think is true. I think VTubers are allowed to be political on their platform if they want to, if they understand the consequences that come with it and the backlash that they could face and how much people would dislike them. And I think this is a good example of what really happens here, right? Because obviously Saruei was political in her post, right? Even if she says it is a funny, a game quote or whatever that didn't mean anything, it still does mean quite a bit with the timing of this post. You can see how much backlash you are going to get if you do political things like that. And I think that is where Lucy Pyre's point is pretty, decent, in the sense of like, you got to face what will come to you if, you do want to get into that space of things. And I think, people like Powder got called like a grifter and things, which obviously, I don't think, is very nice. But at the same time, right, Powder understands the kind of implications of becoming more political as a VTuber. So telling her that she's not allowed to do it is dumb, right? I think that you're allowed to do it if you can understand what will come with that, right? And I think, obviously this is a kind of similar situation where Saruei is talking about politics, and of course now she's getting that backlash because a lot of people don't like the kind of point that she made there with the game quote. People saying, yes, you should be a hero to your failing France before talking, or just stick to the sooner bait. More your speed than defending the Iranian regime committing mass murder, which, yeah, I understand, right? I think 100%. A lot of the stuff going on in Iran is horrible, because I don't know if you've seen a lot of the kind of protests and things that have been going over there in the past couple of weeks or so. It's been pretty horrible to see, right? And of course, now it seems like the US and stuff have gotten involved. And yeah, I won't talk about it too much because obviously this is just a funny VTuber channel, right? Because again, I'm just covering the drama going on with the VTuber rather than my own political opinions on things. But again, I do think it is, you know, pretty interesting, right? The amount of backlash that has come out, and there's been some people as well talking about it as well on VTuber drama here. People said she's right. Yes, she is right, and obviously, so some people are agreeing with her as well. So there is a contrary. There isn't all just backlash. There are some people that do agree. People saying, I mean, she's right. It's from Spec Ops line, like she said. Granted, maybe sorry. I mean, it's right. It's from the Spec Ops, the line, like she said. Granted, maybe not the best time to randomly quote that game of all things after what happened. And again, they say randomly quote. This isn't randomly quoted, right? I think it's very obvious that this wasn't randomly quoted. And I think that Saruei should just be a little bit more forward-facing with that, right? Saying like, hey, yeah, no, this is to do with this situation, right? Instead of being like, hey, let's post something and go, actually, wait, no, it's just a funny quote. I didn't mean it, right? I think it's like, you know, if you want to make a, you know, a take or whatever, even if people disagree with it and you're going to get a lot of backlash, at least like kind of, you know, say it with your chest kind of thing, rather than be like, hey, you know, it was just a game quote and it doesn't mean anything, right? Because of course it meant something at the start, but you know, the moment it started getting backlash, I think it didn't. And I like Saruei because I've seen a lot of the other stuff that she's been doing with the censorship stuff and things like that, and I thought it's been great to see her speaking out about that. But again, I think this one is just a little bit of a miss, especially in terms of the kind of you know, just the way that things have gone about, right? In the way that things have kind of been retracted or kind of, I guess she's like hidden from a lot of the backlash, right? Because it did get quite a bit of anger, right? People say manufactured drama, people are willingly in misinterpreting the context of the quote to create problems. Then that's a lot to defend someone who openly allowed a self-admitted child predator in the Discord. Again, I don't know about that situation. The surprise, surprise, the writer's doing SJW stuff. So this feels like a nothing burger, which again, some people feel like it's a nothing burger, but I feel like with the timing and everything, you know, I feel like it is connected, and I can understand why some people have gotten angry at it, right? And I think that is the case, right? But again, you can have your own opinion on this situation. Again, just look through everything that we have gone through, because I think it's an interesting situation. It definitely has blown up. There has been a lot of anger, but there has also been a lot of support. It's been pretty 50-50. Well, maybe not 50-50, maybe like 60-40, something like that, right? But again, I do think there has been, yeah, a pretty interesting situation that has gone down here. And as I said, you can make up your mind about this. But yeah, that's about it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Also, go to GameSubs, use my code Kazo, get 10% off. Again, they got a ton of really cool stuff over there. Definitely recommend checking it out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. That's all. See ya.